Hello fans, collectors, investors. Welcome back to Iconic Baseball. I'm Iconic Al, and today I'm going to be doing 4 Fantastic VRs. Let's start with Wade Boggs fan, John. He is celebrating 2,000 subscribers, so congratulations, John. It seems like just yesterday, in fact, it was about 2 years ago, I did a VR for you to celebrate 1,000 subscribers. So congratulations for doubling your subscriber count in less than 2 years. Well-deserved, and I love your channel. What John wanted us to do was to share how being on YouTube has sort of enhanced your hobby enjoyment or made your hobby more fulfilling. And this is easy for me. I've said it many times on my channel. Before YouTube came about, the hobby was something I did in the background. I was always collecting pretty much since I was 12 years old. It was something I did with my brother and my dad. And then when I kind of graduated to adulthood, it kind of moved into the background, something I always did, but I didn't talk about. It's not something that my friends cared about generally. The people in my life that I was hanging out with when I lived in Chicago didn't really care about what I was picking up. So it was something I did on my own, almost in secret. What YouTube has done since 2021 when I joined was it allowed me to bring my hobby into the foreground. So basically moved my hobby from the background into the foreground, which has been so liberating and so fun that there are people that really share this passion that I share for collecting, for sharing pickups, sharing joys, talking hobby theory. And so that's what I've really gained here, is not just an outlet for sharing my collection and sharing my collecting strategy, but really gaining friends and gaining really high quality contacts, people that I can really confide in, share my joys, share my pickups, and kind of bounce ideas off of. And one bonus thing that I've gained is a deeper connection with my own brother. Since he's joined YouTube, now he has his own channel. It's called Hi Pop Professor. I'll shout him out again later, but now we get to have conversations every week or two on our Brothers Duo segment. So that's been another great joy that's added to my hobby. So I can't really describe, I've done my best here, but it's really enhanced my joy for the hobby, if that was even possible, beyond what it was before. So thanks, John, for putting this on. It's great to reflect like this every so often, just to sort of take stock of where you're at in the hobby and what really this community means to you. And for me, it means a great deal. So thank you, John. The second VR that I'm gonna do here is for Old Sarge Collects. In fact, he's the reason that I named this video for Fantastic VRs, because Old Sarge Collects just hit 400 subscribers. So congrats, Dan, at Old Sarge Collects. He is now at 400 subscribers, and he wants us to shout out 4 channels and show 4 cards that are graded a 4 for this VR. So let me just start by shouting out my own brother, Hi Pop Professor. I've had such a great time interacting with him since he started his own channel. He really focuses mostly on the innovation era, the 90s. He's a Greg Maddox collector. And so check out Hi Pop Professor. If you're into this era or not, I still recommend checking it out because you might gain some knowledge on that era that you didn't have before. The other one would be Mookie Chilson, one of my favorite individuals in the hobby. Just a heart of gold and a collector that I love interacting with in the comments, via text. He's just one of my favorite people in the hobby, and I can't wait to meet him in person in Cleveland. So Mookie Chilson, everyone, if you haven't already, I'm sure most of you already know who he is, but check out Mookie Chilson's channel because truly a love for the hobby that just warms your heart from the inside. So check out Mookie. Video Guy 316, another great channel that I feel like needs more recognition, Doug, and I feel like, why doesn't he have more subscribers? I think Doug at Video Guy 316, he's one of my shout outs. And then last but not least, Staven Sports Cards, Dom. I like him on multiple levels. I like the way he collects because he's kind of a type collector. He likes to seek out more obscure sets. Hall of Famers, yes, but also just a love for the hobby that goes deeper than just base sets. And then he has a podcast that he does on YouTube called Solo Sports. So Solo Sports Podcast, kind of if you want a roundup of what's going on in Major League Baseball every week, I love tuning in to Solo Sports. And Dom just has this great passion for the sport, for the hobby, and he's one of my shout outs. So yeah, it's kind of a 2-for-1, but check out Staven Sports Cards and Solo Sports. All right, now the second part of this VR, let me show my top 4 cards that are graded a 4. In my opinion, my 4 best cards graded a 4 are as follows. First of all, my 1964 Topps Mickey Mantle, which was the first Mickey Mantle I ever owned. I bought this pre-eBay back in the late 90s, and it's my first mantle. It'll always be my first mantle, and it's graded in a PSA 4. So always gonna have a special place in my collection. Next up to pre-war, a beautiful 1928 W502 Grover Alexander. This is the blank back variety, but it's graded in an old SGC 4. Another beautiful 4 in my collection. Just a beautiful Grover. Pretty high grade example for a card from 1928. But a card that I absolutely love and cherish. Next up, the 1951 Topps Redback. In fact, the first Topps card in baseball history. Number 1 in the set. And of course, it pictures Yogi Berra. Just a beautiful card, a historic card, and it's graded a 4. There's the red back. But just a card that I absolutely cherish. Yogi Berra in a 4. And then last, but certainly not least, pick up from last year's National, the 1948 Bowman, Stan Musial. True rookie card. And I reached a little bit for this at the National last year, but I don't regret it one bit because look at this thing. I mean, it's exactly how the card should look. Centering is immaculate. Eye appeal is phenomenal. And what else can you say? This, I think, is my favorite 4 in my collection. And there you have it. Thank you, Dan, for doing this Fantastic 4 challenge. Okay, moving on to the third VR in this bonanza. It would be for my buddy Scott at Reindeer Studios. He wants us to present our favorite baseball uniform. And I actually did a remote for this one. I was in Chicago last week, taking in a game between the Pirates and the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Well, let me just cut to my VR here.
Hello fans, collectors, investors, welcome back to Iconic Baseball. Iconic Al here, and I'm at Wrigley Field watching Paul Skeens shut down the Chicago Cubs. This is a video response from my buddy Scott at Reindeer Studios, who had recently reached 1,500 subscribers. So thank you, and congratulations, Scott, for doing this. My favorite uniform of all time, the greatest uniform of all time, is the late 80s Pirates Road Black, which you see here on this 1990 Barry Bonds card. So that is my submission. I love you, Scott. And until next time, keep collecting and stay iconic.
That game at Wrigley Field turned out to be the first Major League victory for Paul Skeens, which fortunately I kept a complete scorecard for. You can see the line right here for Paul Skeens. 6 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. Just an amazing performance for Paul Skeens, earning his first Major League victory, a 9-3 resounding victory for the Pirates. And my goal is to someday have Paul sign this scorecard for me, because this is kind of a big deal. If he turns out to be a significant player, getting his first win at Wrigley Field, I'd love to have him sign this. So what a great memory as a Pirates fan to see the first big league win for a guy that could be kind of a generational pitcher in the franchise. So that was a huge thrill. And there's something going on under here. I don't know what's going on. Seems like there's a card under here. Huh. Oh, look at that. It's a 1934 Gowdy Lefty Grove. And it appears that it's graded in a 2, which, if I'm not mistaken, happens to be 1 grade higher Then John 3D 80s Kids copy of this card, which I believe is graded in an SGC 1. So technically this card is hashtag better than John. What goes around comes around, John. This is for you, Theo.